Hello everybody, my name is Stuart Ross and I am a Fiction Express writer. I don't just write for Fiction Express, I write for all sorts of people. I've written about 300 books of every sort and shape and size that you can imagine. I've written fiction and non-fiction and books for adults, books for children, all sorts. Anyway, I've been with Fiction Express for a very long time. I wrote, I think, probably the first book they ever published. It was called The Soterian Mission, and it was for young adults. I've been asked to answer a few questions for you, and so here goes. Question number 1. Who's my favourite author? Well, there is only one, and that is the great William Shakespeare. And there never will be anybody like him, because he was writing when the language was very flexible, like wet clay, and he twisted it into all sorts of fantastic shapes. If we're talking about novels, stories, then probably it will be Charles Dickens, because he had a wonderful sense of humour, and I think life without humour is not worth living. And so, Charles Dickens. If we're talking about writers for children, it would be Roald Dahl. And because I think he also has a wonderful sense of humour, and he's also very rude, and I think it's important for writers to be rude and not terribly politically correct, because politically correct brings me on to the second question, which is, what was my favourite bedtime story when I was 3? Well, I can just about remember it, but I can't tell you what it was, because it was not politically correct. And if I tell you, I would be terribly rude and make a lot of people very cross. So that brings us to question number 3, which was, which character would I like to be if I were a character from a book? Well, I think I'll go back to the first full-length book I can remember reading, and it was Treasure Island by Robert Louis Stevenson, a rollicking adventure about pirates in the Caribbean, and the hero of that book was a young lad called Jim Hawkins. So, if I am to be a character, ha-ha, me hearties, I will be Jim Hawkins, sailing round the Caribbean in my ship, tackling the pirates like Long John Silver, and coming home with a chest full of gold. Ha ha! Anyway, that's enough nonsense from me. Very nice talking to you, and I might talk to you all again later, and I do hope that you enjoy my latest book with Fiction Express, which is called The Bandit. Bye.